Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about desperation politics. We're where we are now because people were desperate. The majority, however many people voted currently, were desperate. And they were desperate in a different way than maybe you were particularly. So that's why you see individuals say, hey, share the content. Kind of let people know what's going on. Get it out there because again we're going to be desperate. What I'm desperate for as a citizen, I was desperate to be included. So if someone came out and said, hey, I want to make you inclusive, if I don't hear anything about being inclusive, then I have to pick the best candidate. When things get to the wire, right? We got desperate. Even the news started pushing out desperation. You must vote the what and not the who. But I've told you, vote the who and not the what. I no longer I don't prescribe to saying that if I find something that works for me that I need to go another way because I'm splitting the vote. No, I'm voting exactly the way it's important to me because I don't want to necessarily ever find myself saying that I have to vote for what is considered the lesser evil. They're all evil. No matter what you put there, no matter who you put there, if they're in the evil category, that's just what it is. There were people that were desperate. They were desperate to get help. They were desperate to get prices lower. They were desperate to pay lower or what they thought would be lower interest, lower wages, bring jobs back because their environments were desperate. And we have something called where we can geopolitically push information. This means in a specific area, they may not see a difference of perspective. They may only see one perspective. So it's hard, honestly, when you look at data, when you understand how propaganda works, and that you can pay for an entire area to only hear one piece of information, you can now understand that, hey, you'll say things like, how didn't you know? It's the same way as not being able to formulate a question, but the information is out there. You just don't know how to ask because it's never been in your lane. Sometimes when we are going at each other, when we're having our citizen to citizen battles, look at what they say when you say, hey, what's that person's policy? And a lot of people don't have the answers to those questions. That's desperation politics. It was the same way when you hear citizens say, when you hear white citizens say that, hey, a lot of black people voted for Obama just because he was black. They don't even know what policies that he was in. Desperation politics. Black people were desperate to finally see representation at the highest level of government. And yes, they came out in record numbers to see that representation. But not only that, you had countries that were rooting because again they had saw representation that they had never seen from America. Because you got to think about it, even in Africa, when they were watching American politics, they were rooting for this to happen in America. Such desperation to choose. Does a person have to do everything they say they're going to do if you're desperate to get anything and to hear anything good? No, that's why I'm running for governor. I'm here to tell you that we also need to get rid of desperation politics. The way you do that is you implement guidelines that simply say when you sign that paper to be an elected official, what you run on is what you actually have to do so citizens can get the data back to show why this did not happen. And then we can put in mitigation factors to make sure that the things that we voted for you to be able to do, that you are able to do next time. Now that we find out why it can or can't happen. But right now, the way it's been, again, guys, we're talking 2 old. That's 42 years old currently. I'll be 43 this year. What we're talking about right now is never having that, never having the availability to not be pushed into desperation. There are people that do jobs that do not have time to track every single thing that the government does. But now I'm asking you to be desperate. I'm asking you to bring the desperation to needing to see and be a part of transparency. That's why I'm running for governor of Florida, to give you a part of this, so that now an individual doesn't get to play on your desperations, because you can actually vote on the things that are essential to you. Now individuals, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, you actually have a say so in how your surrounding environment works, and then how your overall state functions. That's the goal of legislative authority by way of direct democracy for citizens. So understand that we have been used and are continuing to be used in desperation politics. Now, listen to what they just said. They said, hey, there is a overall parliament. There's an overall vote over there in Iran to close the Straits of Hormuz, which will increase prices. And still, on top of that, all the areas that we bombed apparently didn't have anything there, or at least those are the reports. Now, again, there is no transparency, so we're gonna be it's always able to be flipped. No matter what you get, you can flip it, because there's just information that's just not available. And maybe your source is literally the president of the United States of America, but you got to remember that he's getting the intelligence fed, again, like I told y'all, from I don't even know where, because he said he doesn't believe his own American homegrown intelligence department, which is beyond me. But nonetheless, there is 1,000 complaints that I have, and maybe people did believe that, hey, the president ran on saying that he doesn't want any war, and then boom, he's doing things to create conflict that could lead to war. And what did JD Vance say? JD Vance said, we're not at war with Iran, we're at war with Iran's nuclear program. Just play with wording, whatever the case may be. That's what politicians do. And you know how you stop them from playing with wording? You get a say so. Now, at the federal level, I don't know how to implement the system, but we do need to figure this out at the state level, so that maybe that progressive thought process can get to the federal level. But I did want to give you an understanding of desperate politics and how desperation can make you vote against your best interest. But again, until we put in an actual mitigating factor that says that an elected official cannot lie about the policies that they are going to run on, that you must at minimum implement these policies, and maybe that gets to a place to where, hey, you can only run on, and then we put a number in there. Say we only want you to run on your number 6 goals. If you have 6 goals, those are the goals that you are going to implement, that you are wanting to implement, and you will implement, because before you even come into office, you need to have a plan together. Now, I always tell y'all, if you go to my website, that's always listed in the description on YouTube, and right above me on TikTok, you can go to the website. You see it says the plan, and it talks about my implementation. If you go to my town halls, you see that I have a broken down PowerPoint talking about how to implement the plan and working with citizens to get you to understand how this is supposed to work and how it will work, and how we're going to navigate through this. I do take a lot of feedback, and then I put that into the plan when I get healthy feedback after individuals read it. Now, let me be honest with you. A lot of people don't go and look at the plan, and if you do look at the plan, you never weigh in on it. You got to be able to weigh in on it. This is where this comes from. You must understand that if things aren't working well right now, that you need to help me put the plan together. This was my brainchild plan of implementing at a state level direct democracy and maintaining the idea of checks and balances, while adding in a piece that I thought was missing, which was citizens holding elected officials accountable. The only way right now citizens hold elected officials accountable is by way of voting, and maybe being able to recall that elected official, and then we get into all types of judicial issues. So we have to have a way for citizens to have more control. So I need you to be desperate in understanding that I am pushing you to this desperation of wanting to be a part of the system. It is very important to me, and I hope it's becoming equally important to you. We need to multitask in how we move forward with our political evolution, and it needs to evolve. Nothing in our state function is ever truly meant to stay the same if we can find something better, or we find out that what we've implemented is no longer viable in our current society or even looking to our future. So we have to think about the majority of the people. And we can do this. This is something that is possible. I'm just not trying to do it as an individual. That's the whole thing. I'm not trying to do it as an individual, and I want citizens to weigh in and understand what's supposed to happen next. Definitely leave your comments, definitely weigh in, and definitely go to the website, look over the plan. If you want a condensed version, I can put that together. Just let me know that, hey, I want a condensed version. If you scroll all the way down on my page, you will find a place where you can contact me, send a contact, and ask for a condensed version of the plan, and I'll just send you a condensed version as condensed as possible, something that you're able to also understand and hopefully articulate if indeed the main plan is a bit too robust, and I can understand how that can be. Now remember, I am trying to answer all of the who, what, when, where, why, and how we are supposed to accomplish this. I just need citizens to definitely weigh in on that. This is a together project, and I'm trying to be a servant of the people. I'm trying to be a servant of the people, and that's something that all current elected officials have completely whiffed on. Let me be honest. They whiffed on it. They're not servants of the people. Bottom line. So with that being said, definitely check it out. Definitely give me your opinions. I look forward to it. You guys have a great day.